So, Sonic Superstars just dropped today, and obviously there's a lot of things to talk about here. Honestly, what do I think about the game? What are my takes on it? Is it one of Sonic's greatest 2D adventures? How does it stand up with the rest, like Mania and stuff like that? We're going to be talking about everything in this video, but if you guys haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. We are on the road to 1K, and your love and support would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, let's get right into it. The very first thing I have to talk about is it just feels like a very fluid 2D adventure, right? Sonic Superstars is a great take on the 2D formula in this sort of like modern style of a look, and it looks really great. It's a very beautiful game to honestly look at, and just in general, I love the aesthetics, the designs of areas, and just everything that this game does it very well. I feel like just genuinely going through the game is a lot of fun. However, this is one thing I'll say about the level design. You can clearly tell that the levels were made for the criteria of multiplayer. When you're going through the game in the single player, you can clearly tell it was designed for a lot of people to play at the same time. It's not a thing to really flack the game for, because the thing is like this is the first time they're actually doing this local co-op up to 4 players in a Sonic game in a 2D sense. So that I actually not give it flack, because the thing is you have to kind of get used to that stuff. So again, it is a bit of a knock, but the level design is still good even with that factor played into it. I think it's a great game to still go through and still play through these really fun, very fast levels, just like how any typical 2D Sonic game would be. And in my opinion, I mean, the very first zone in the game is a very great zone in general. I think it's a really strong zone to start off with, and that's what I just genuinely think. Every time I play a 2D Sonic game, the first zone always is going to stick to my mind, because I feel like they're always actually very strong. So again, I feel like that's honestly just what makes sense to me. So I feel like just looking at it, I feel like the first zone, you know, Bridge Island, Speed Jungle, you know, a lot of these different zones play a great factor, and they're really good. Now, another thing I do want to talk about is the Chaos Emerald powers. This is one of the most unique ideas I've seen in a 2D Sonic game, which is that they have Chaos Emerald abilities within the Chaos Emeralds. Obviously, the main goal when you have Chaos Emeralds is you want to collect all 7 in order to become Supersonic. But what I find very interesting is that now each one has its own ability to it, and that's what makes every single one unique, is because now you have like this sort of Chaos Emerald wheel where you're able to pick and choose which ability you want to use throughout the level, and it's a very great way. It gives you a bit of an advantage in how you want to traverse through levels, and it's just a great way to get through it. But one thing I will say is that it really depends on the Chaos Emerald abilities, right? Like there's some that, like the Clone ability, for example. The Clone Chaos Emerald ability, really you should only be using that when you're in boss battles. But you have stuff like the Vine, which is very good to try to get back up into an area that you wanted to still kind of go through and explore where that takes you. You know, one of the strongest, in my opinion, of the Chaos Emerald abilities is the Fireball. The Fireball is really dope, really sick. And in my opinion, I still find the one where you can find... There's this Chaos Emerald ability where it basically scans the area and can find some hidden platforms, hidden rings, and say what you will about that power. I know a lot of people are conflicted about it, but in my opinion, I do like it because it's a clever idea. It's a great way to continue to express the level design that was in the level, and in my opinion, I think it just adds to the design of it very well. So, again, say what you will, some Chaos Emeralds powers you'll love, some you'll feel conflicted on. In my opinion, I still just enjoy that we at least have some powers, because I feel like that gives you more of a sentiment into wanting to get these Chaos Emeralds. Obviously, the primary sentiment is you want to be Supersonic, but it's still rewarding that at least if you get one, or you basically miss out on the goal, you still are making the goal, because you will have these Chaos Emerald abilities that will come and play in some type of way. Now, also, the special stages where these Chaos Emeralds are from are really fun. I've been hearing a lot of people say that this is one of the best 2D Sonic special stages, and I'm gonna have to get more digested into it to really give a criteria opinion on it, but just from what I personally think, it is a good one. It's actually a pretty decent one, in my opinion, where you're basically going through this sort of like a swing, and you know, you just want to get as close to the Chaos Emerald as possible, of course. Now, I'm a person that definitely loves the OG Sonic special stages, but this one still does great. I mean, obviously Mania basically took the, you know, uniqueness of the CD type of special stages and used it in a great way. In my opinion, I really do enjoy these special stages a lot as well, because it's like a swing, like you're going through this trying to grab onto platforms, and again, it's just a really great idea. You want to obviously get as close as you possibly can in order to gain the Chaos Emerald. Now, obviously, there's also multiple playable characters. Obviously, we have Sonic, who basically just feels like Sonic in any typical sense of a 2D game. He's basically the same, but still in a fluid form. Again, very well to control, and in my opinion, he's still probably the best character out of all four to still go around the game with. But Tails is still really great. Of course, he has the flying abilities, so you can just fly with his tails and just go up to areas that you want. Knuckles still can glide and climb into areas and just go through the level in that sense. And also, of course, you all know Amy. Amy is now also a playable character in a launch release of a 2D Sonic game, and wow, she is great. She basically has like this double jump. She can use her Pico Pico hammer to make it very easy for her to attack enemies. Just in general, she is really great to go through the game with, and there's also another one that also makes it really easy to just traverse levels. Like, I low-key kind of find Amy to be like the easy mode of the game because her Pico Pico hammer just makes everything a lot more easy and simple. But if you really want that like normal standard Sonic experience, you're probably still gonna go through the game with Sonic, but that still doesn't give flack, or that still doesn't, you know, try to give a criteria take to the other characters. The other characters, in a critic sense, they're still great to play through. They still have their own abilities, they have their own capabilities, and just in general, they're still fun to go through the game with. But in my opinion, I still love going through the levels with the blue blur, and there's a lot of reasons why. Now, the boss battles are really great too. They're very flashy in a sense. They're very nice. They do get a bit challenging later on in the game. I will definitely say that. Like, they really get intensely challenging, and this is where the like clone Chaos Emerald ability and majority of the Chaos Emerald abilities really come to play, which is why I really want to advertise and advise that you actually go through the special stages. Even if you're just like a casual Sonic player and you just want to go through the game and just beat it, in my opinion, you really want to beat this game while having some Chaos Emeralds in your disposal, because you're really going to need them for a lot of the later on boss battles. And I'm trying to really find out if that was designed that way on purpose. If it was, that's pretty cool, but again, I would advise trying to get some Chaos Emerald abilities, at least the most you can possibly can, right? And if you can, at least try to get Supersonic as well. It seems like it's going to be very advantageous to you, especially later down the line. It seems like it's going to be a very big advantage, so I would recommend to personally get all of them. Now, the final thing I guess I will talk about is, of course, the battle system. Of course, there is a battle mode, and the battle mode is what you would have expected. It's pretty simple. It's basically like what you would expect in a formal 2D Sonic battle system. It's pretty decent, you know. Obviously, you're going up against these other people, and it's really interesting. Of course, like, you have like basically like your own type of robot, and you're basically playing through in this battle mode, so it's cool. I believe you can also design the robot into your own way, so that's cool. But again, it's a fine like battle system, you know. It's nothing like you're gonna look at and be like, oh yeah, this is one of the best ever, but I will say it's still a decent, still solid one, so I'll give credit for that. Now, of course, there is a story to this game. Obviously, the game just dropped, so I won't really spoil anything. I'll kind of just give a bit of notes on it. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid. Again, obviously, it's a 2D Sonic game, so, and the game's like 4 hours, so of course, take what you will with the story, but I find it to be very good. You know, the gang is here. There's a lot of also really interesting things that happen with it. I think it's a pretty solid story for a Sonic game, which, again, they've been crushing it recently when it comes to storytelling. I think Frontiers is really good. The Murder Sonic the Hedgehog was really brilliant, and I feel like here it's done still very well. And, you know, there is a bit of cutscenes, so take what you will with that. I think the cutscenes are also very good, very designed very well, and I think you're just going to enjoy your time with this game. And also the final thing I'll talk about is that each character has their own actual level. For instance, Sonic has a level for himself, but Tails, Knuckles, and Amy have levels of their own that you can just traverse and actually do with only them, and it's only them that you're able to go through. And that's pretty cool because it actually lets you experiment with all the other characters and see how they actually are. So that's really dope. That's really awesome. That at least it gives you a chance to like just experiment and see if you actually really like using another character other than Sonic, you know, because of course the hardcore Sonic fan base, they're gonna love using all 4 characters, but this still opens the doors and possibilities of other people also wanting to use other characters in future Sonic games. So I think, again, this is really awesome. But yeah, that is all I have to say about Sonic Superstars. Again, it's a solid 2D Sonic game. I still have to process and think about if it's really truly one of the best and and a thing. I'll definitely say this. I still find Mania to be a better 2D Sonic game than Superstars, but that still goes without saying. I still actually find Superstars in a very good quality, and it's very hard to beat a game like Mania, a game that's very beloved by Sonic fans, so take what you will with that. But again, Sonic Superstars is a really great game. I definitely would recommend trying it out. It's really fun, it's a really solid 2D style, and just in general, it's really great. And also, I love the inclusion of bringing Fang back. You know, Fang hasn't been in the game for a while, so I really appreciated that they brought him back after so many years. So that's really great. And of course, again, Eggman is still doing his thing. Of course, the main antagonist. But again, the protagonists, and the very cool. And also, of course, I mentioned this character in the last time, but Trip is such a cool character for this game, and really is one of the spotlights I really have to bring up in this game. So, again, a lot of great stuff happened here. I'm really interested to see what the next Sonic game is after this, because this was basically the last Sonic game we actually got some news on. And now that the Frontiers DLC dropped, I'm very curious to see what's next for the series. What is the plans for next year and stuff like that, because we all know they have Sonic Prime coming out later, but again, very great. So yeah, Sonic Superstars is a great game, definitely recommend. And I'm going to continue making videos. Again, Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Spider-Man 2 are both dropping this Friday, so it's going to be a jam-packed week. I'm going to try to get videos out for those games as soon as possible. But yeah, Sonic Superstars is definitely a game you should try out. And of course, I hope you guys enjoy the game as much as I do.